Is your kid insecure? Probably. Welcome back to The Mailman. Welcome, if you're watching this for the first time. The Mailman is a brand and a community all focused around breaking the stigma around male body image issues and the mental health impact it can have. Is your kid insecure? The honest answer is yes, probably. Actually, it depends on what age. Obviously, the younger they are, the less they know about what comparison is. They could still be bullied. But if your kid is more around the teenage years, secondary school, high school, the chances that they are already insecure or comparing themselves to others is insanely high. I think the stat was something like 90-something% that kids nowadays are suffering with some sort of insecurity or mental health impacts, all focused around the way they look, which is mad to think there are so many kids out there who are just getting along with their lives, trying to learn, trying to get through school, but they're already starting to compare themselves, already starting to feel like they need to change the way they look to fit in to this world. And this all stems from not just other kids bullying your kid, but the world is full of different types of content, mostly on social media. And that's where the first bit of advice comes in. Know what your kid is watching, what they're exposed to, what their friends groups are sharing on Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp. Do you have an eye over what they watch? Do you have some sort of control? Not that controls really matter anymore. Because even with those types of controls and content controls, all it takes is one kid to get sent it from another kid, and then suddenly the whole group has it. So maybe that's the first thing to address. Try finding out or exploring what exactly your child is exposed to. Secondly, who do they hang around with? Obviously, you might get to know your kids' friends because of their parents. They might be part of your close group. Do you know what kind of impact your kids' friends are having on your own children? Are they a good influence? Are they a bad influence? My kids are only in primary school, but I can already see there are certain kids in the same class, and this is, you're talking below 10 years old, that are having a really bad impact and influence over my own children. It's all about body image. It's all about certain ways of looking. It's all about the latest trends. It's all about being part of that group or that gang for the day. And if you're not part of that gang, or if you're not dressed in a certain way, you're excluded. But this is where the problem starts. Why are kids that young having such a big impact on others, on their peers? It just doesn't make sense. Because it's kids like that go to secondary school and take that level of comparison to the next level. So have a think. Who are your kids hanging around with? Why are they hanging around with certain children? Are they being made to fit in? Does their mood solely revolve around their friend circle? The next thing is quite easy. It's just to expose and open your kids' eyes to the world. The fact that every single person is different. We all look different. We're all different shapes, sizes, colours, and it's absolutely fine. It's normal to be different. There is no perfect way of looking. There is no right way to look. And no kid can tell your kid that the way they look is right or wrong. Certainly shouldn't have an impact on what they can achieve who they hang out with, whether they're included or excluded in that day's group or gang or whatever, make them feel comfortable with the way they look by opening their eyes to the world that we live in. It might be hard to convince them that what they see on social media is fake, because quite frankly it is. Most of the content that they see is staged, it's fake, they're actors, but it's that which makes them feel like, I need to change the way I look to be like that person. When in truth, what happens behind the camera when the camera's not filming? Those so-called influencers, to be honest, they're probably just trying to fit in themselves. Finally, and this one's mostly for the little boys and males out there, they need to feel comfortable enough to talk. If they have problems, or if they're worrying about something, or they've already gone down that route of comparing themselves to others, they're feeling insecure about their own body, or something about themselves that they're not entirely comfortable with, they need to be surrounded by an environment where they feel comfortable enough to talk. Because that in itself is one of the biggest issues. If they don't talk, they bottle it up, just like I did. And they get so used to containing it all within themselves and not knowing how to voice their true feelings and their worries. Because there are so many people out there, professionals, that can help and prevent your child going down the kind of dark path that I did, where over time it builds anxiety, it knocks their confidence and destroys their self-worth. And that's when they're forced to take it into their own hands. In my case, going through extreme diets, taking random unprescribed medications, all to try and lose weight, fit in, look a certain way, clear my skin, just so I could be one of the popular kids and fit in. God knows the long-term impact it's had, but I'm nearly 40 and I'm talking about stuff that happened to me in secondary school and primary school, and it's clear that it's had a huge impact and it's still having a daily impact on me. Do you really want your child to be experiencing the things that I'm going through right now? This is what I want for your children, is to just be more confident, happy with themselves, and ultimately just free to be whoever they want to be. And having these conversations with your children, you might learn something about them. You might be able to help them with things that they've not even thought about, like body shape and weight, for example. If I had someone to talk to about this stuff growing up, maybe I would have discovered more passions for myself, like going to the gym. I discovered that a little bit later on. But if a teacher or my parents, if they knew about the type of advice that I really needed, they could have perhaps even helped me discover that passion I have for exercise and going to the gym. And that would have turned it into a slightly easier transition, because I would have realised much sooner on, I want to do this for myself. I'm enjoying going to the gym because I can see and feel the benefits of that myself, not because I'm doing it because other people are forcing me to. I'm being bullied, and as a result I need to go to the gym and start losing weight. So have a think. How's your child behaving? Have you noticed any changes in them? Have you spoken to them recently? When's the last time that they had a productive, open conversation with someone about how they're feeling? You want to try and catch these types of issues and worries early, trust me. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, it would mean a great deal if you can subscribe, because ultimately that's the only way we're going to be able to push this message out and get it in front of the parents, the adults, even the children that need to hear and see this message. I'll see you on the next one.